Here is a look at your gap and go trades for the week of July 29th through August 2nd. I will go over price targets, have a gap recap from July 22nd through the 26th, and update the chart as well. Hi everyone, it's Dow on the Dow. First up is NIO. We ended the week at $4.43, up 3.75%. This is where we are at resistance. The next level of resistance and potential take profit area takes us to 3 standard deviations at $4.50. Above that, at 4 standard deviations, $4.55. To the south side, back at the middle of the trend and the baseline, $4.32. Below that, at another level of support, $4.20, $4.14, and at negative 4 standard deviations, roughly $4.08. Looking left, this gap is still in play to the downside, taking us to $4.13. I have no idea when it's going to touch, but if we continue going down, this could hit on Wednesday. And then we have this gap within that bigger gap, taking us down to $4.18. And that could take us, or touch, I should say, on Monday, because again, we are in a downward channel. And this gap here is already finished to the south side at roughly $4.31. I didn't draw it out, but if you play the standard deviations, that will take out your gaps to the upside or gaps to the downside. And this gap is to the upside and is still in play from last week at $4.48. And this gap also opened up last week and closes out at $4.68. We are not in the channel, not in the zone. We are going down, moving farther away from this gap. And with NIO, we have other gaps to talk about, but they are not in the channel that we are in right now. The next stock is SOFI. Right, ignore all the horizontal lines. They are previous either support and resistance or my buy and sell lines, which I'll talk about at a different time because I'm trying to keep this video short. We ended the week at $7.41, up 1.93%. This is where we ended. Resistance takes us to 2SD at 754. 764 and 776 to the middle of the trend and the baseline, 731, 708, 697, and 686. Looking left, this gap is still in play to the downside, but we are not in that channel, not in the zone just yet. Slowly making our way down though. Closing out at 659. This one closes to the downside, still in play at 679. And this gap already closed to the upside at 786. And then we've got this gap and this gap as well. Not in the channel, not in the zone, just something to be aware of. This will take us out to 993. But unfortunately, we are still going in a downward channel. Right, the next one is TSLA. As you can see, we are still going in a downward channel. Not looking good, but we did bounce up and then down and kind of all over the place with this one last week. But we ended the week at $15.11, up barely anything, just grinding sideways. So here are your price targets on the 5-minute time frame. So resistance takes us to 1566 and another potential take profit area. 1612, 1659. Many levels of support and resistance within this channel, but I'm just giving you some clear support and resistance lines off of -2 and 2 standard deviations, and then the outer bands, which are clear buy or sell signals. All right, this takes us to 1473, 1382, 1334, and 1286. As far as your gap recap, this gap takes us down to 1319. Oops, Command Z still in play. Oops. Right, it looks like that might be the last one I'm tracking. And this gap, this gap looks like it could touch on Tuesday with that -4 standard deviations if we continue on our path down. And this gap, yay, touched at 1483. So we are done right there. No longer a threat to our account to the south side. Of course, there are other threats, just not this one. So that began basically on Wednesday, June 12th, and closed out on Wednesday, July 24, the 24th. So that's done. That took us up to 1524. No longer a threat, as I mentioned. Now this one, I forgot to clean up my chart. So that touched right here to the upside. Oops. At 1592. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. That is my previous sell zone. No. That's the gap. Excuse me. I should have cleaned this up a long time ago. So that is making my chart look wonky and hard to read because I've marked it out so many times. And then this started at 1547, no longer in play. All right, and then we've got this gap still in play that I have not marked out on TSLA. So that touched right there to, oops. Just cleaning up the chart with you here. That's done. 1712, done. 1641, done. And 1747. No. That one has not touched. Well, closed out, I should say. All right, these gaps are still in play here to the upside. This one will take us out to 1786. And let me mark this one roughly. I'll go back and clean it up, make sure it's accurate, but this is going to be roughly 1647 there. But unfortunately, we are going down. So let me extend that. But that could touch on Monday, but I don't think it'll close out on Monday. Hopefully, if we do bounce, we could continue to go, well, reverse and go up, I should say. This one is still in play, roughly 1771. And then this one closes out at 1786. But again, note the downward channel we are still in on the 5-minute time frame for TSLA. I own NIO, SOFI, and TSLA. The next one is going to be Rivian. We ended the week at 1621, right here, the middle of the trend and the baseline. To the north side is resistance and a potential take profit area, 1686, 1717, and 1748. To the south side, 1563-ish, 1532, and 15. Oh, we've got a gap here that I just noticed. Let me draw that out. Oh, turn on my magnet. We gap down, so I will anticipate a gap up whenever we fill. I like to change it to green to indicate a positive movement to the upside. And what else is going on? Oh, no. Okay, we've got this gap to the upside that will take us to roughly 23.36. Not in the channel, not in the zone, not even close, just something to be aware of. We are going down, unfortunately. And then this gap, oops, doesn't like it. I have to click outside the box. So this will take us to roughly 1533-ish starting. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, yeah. It just touched here. Let me mark this. And then this will close out at $12, but we are set to touch this on possibly Tuesday, if not sooner, if we just flush down with a candle wick, possibly. You never know. That does all kinds of things to our chart. Can close out a gap very quickly. And then if it does happen, I will anticipate a bounce if we make it down to this area, because that will be support. And that looks like that is it for Rivian. Intel, option R. All right, here are your price targets. $31.49, $31.77, $32.05, the baseline, the middle of the trend, $30.92, $30.33, $30.05, and $29.76. Looking left, this gap, which was in play Wednesday the 3rd of July, finally closed out on Wednesday the 24th, it looks like. This is no longer a threat to our account. To the south side, done. And then last week, this gap closed out to the downside right there on the 24th. And this one started roughly July 5th. Delete, no longer a threat to our account to the south side. Boy, I never really cleaned up this chart from previous weeks. That's what happens when you go over so many gap and goes, well, tickers. And I forgot to do this one. I removed 2 of them from the previous week. So right now I have 10 tickers to go through, and I'm trying to keep it at 10. I counted wrong, so I've been doing way more than 10. And the video just takes too long. Oh, note this bigger gap here. But let me clean up this one. Touched right there on Wednesday the 17th. Opened up really on the 16th, just a day, but closed out. And then we've got this gap that opened up. We flushed down, so whenever we reverse course, it will close to the upside, but just not yet. Okay, I need to make this a little bit bigger. It's getting wonky on me. Okay, we flushed down, so I'm going to anticipate a closure to the upside. And obviously, if you don't like, again, to play the gaps, just the standard deviations will take us out eventually. And then we've got this baby one to the upside. Might as well mark it since I'm here. Oops. Move this out of the way. Clean this up. Okay, we flushed down. So we will reverse to the upside. Oh, geez. And then we have this one too, but I'm not going to draw that one. Okay. So that is done here. All right, so we've got this new gap and then this one. And then it looks like one more to the upside at 37.60. And then this one closed out, it looks like at 31.66. Okay, the next one, CVS, ended the week at $61 to the north side. 61.50, 61.92 at 3 SD, and 4 SD 62.36, 60.62, 59.79, 59.33, 58.90. We've got this baby gap that's still in play. Opened up last week, taking us out at roughly 58.71 whenever we reverse course. Now the gap that I am tracking to the upside is this baby right here. We are not in the channel, not in the zone, oops, not even close, but we are fortunately moving upward on the 5. You will get different buy and sell signals when you flip the time frames. And this one closed out at roughly 60, 63-ish. Let me just delete this because I looked at it this week and tracked it. So last week we were starting the week at 59.79, fell down to support, going sideways, and now we're at 61. Nike is next. So again, all I'm tracking is from this period to this period. And we are going in a downward channel still, unfortunately. So to the north side, 73.22, 73.96, and 74.74. Thank you for looking at my public service announcement. I mean, it's the least you could do is look at it, since I'm doing this for free 95, right? Oh, actually, I should not say the word right. I hear so many people say it and it drives me bonkers, and then it rubs off on me, and then I say it, and then it drives me bonkers. Remember when people used to say it is what it is? That drove me crazy as well. Crazy. Okay, so this takes us down to 71.62, and this little baby takes us to 71.36. I don't know why I drew it so small, but the standard deviations again will take it, and we will get there on Monday. So we'll flush down here. All right, so that was to the upside, 74.69-ish, if I didn't say that. I got sidetracked, 71.73. This will close at 71.36, 70.25, 69.51, 68.76. Do you agree with me that, I don't care who you are, that if you've been on the board for more than 5 years, I feel like you should not be running anymore? It's like a city manager. The average city manager only keeps their job for like 5 years, and that's enough. We need new blood, new ideas. It's like tenured professors. I don't believe there should be tenure. You should be able to fire them if they do something that is not good for the school. Just because you're tenured, you have protections, and I don't think that's right. Okay, that takes us to 6874. So we definitely do not need, in my development, one of my developments, a board member that's been on for 22 years. And that is just, in my opinion, not good for the development, especially if the development has gotten sued. You need a clean slate and get rid of everybody that was involved in a lawsuit. Not good. We had a senior citizen sue the board, and that was not cheap. Lawsuits are not cheap. Okay, Nike, I'm done there. And dash, and I say these things because I care about my neighborhood. I care about its future. And we just need new blood, new people, younger people that can give us fresh perspectives and new ideas and cut the budget and stop spending. It's like wasteful government spending. The board is the same thing. It's a microcosm. And all they do is basically like the government tax and spend. Well, stop taxing, stop spending, and get your budget in line and find ways to cut expenses without having to raise taxes and raise dues. It's common sense. Okay, now I'm really done. Okay, 106.53, 108.15, 109.82, 103.23. This gap closes to the south side at 101.02, 99.84, 98.24, and 96.49. This gap's still in play, and I think it'll close out on Monday. And this one touched right here, no longer a threat to our account to the south side. Done at $100.48. Delete. And this gap that developed 2 weeks ago, is still in play to the upside at 108.51. And I don't think it will touch on Monday. Oh, wait a minute. We're here? Yeah, it could. I'm sorry. I was thinking down here. This is the gap to the south side. Yeah, it could if we just wick up. We could tickle it. But we're still going down overall. And that's the other gap up here at 127.01. The next one I'm going to go over is Boeing. $191.05, $193.15, $195.17. So we are right here at the middle of the trend. If we are down here and we get to this line, that's resistance. If we're up here and we go down, this turns into support. So we are up here, but didn't make it to this line. That's still trying to make its way up to resistance. And now we are at support. Although technically you could say it resistance because it fell through this line and then up here. So middle of the trend, you could even say. 182.92, 180.94, and 178.85 at -4 standard deviations. Last week we started the week at 179.67. The highest we got was up here, 189. So that's awesome. That would have been a nice, just a little trade for a weekly trade. But actually, if you bought it down here, let's just take, well, let me do this point right here to this point is a 5% return. That's better than parking your money in a savings account at Chase. No, thank you. But if you had bought down here and sold out up here, Boy, that's hard. Let me get rid of this magnet. It's making it wonky up for me. Okay, there. Roughly almost 7%. So not too shabby. That's in 1 week. Most ETFs, they make between 8 and I would say 12% a year on average. So if you're getting that in 1 day, that's pretty nice. Because you're going up and down on an ETF. You can't control it. You're just parking it and letting it ride, and you don't know what direction it's going to go. All of a sudden, you're doing really well, and then boom, you get flushed out. All right, that's Boeing. Oh, wait, this gap is the next target. If we continue to slowly go up the way we are, that could touch 2 standard deviations on Friday at the end of the week. Fingers crossed. And finally, Tesla. So we are, what is going on? Oh yeah, I just dragged the gaps. So we're looking at this period. We're going down. So 229.24, 237.88, and this gap closes out at 246.23, which lines up with 4 standard deviations. But move this. This could touch on Monday if we just quickly go up and then head back down. All right, so that's up, middle of the trend, 212.67. If we get to here, that will close out that gap at 198.13. But this is 196.11, 187.76, and 179.40. Wait, what did I say? 40 or C, 179.57-ish. All right, looking left, this gap is still in play, taking us, let me change that. 197.96. Okay, 210.6. Oh, this is 210.49. Oops. Let's be consistent there. And that is still in play for next week. We could definitely touch that, close it out on Monday. And what's going on here? Oh, so this gap up here to 246, but we are going in a downward channel, unfortunately. But this gap touched right here to the south side, 231.41. So this gap is no longer a threat to our account to the south side, no longer in play. Delete, delete. And what's going on here? This one, oh, that's for that one. This one already closed out to the south side, 240.10-ish. All right, this gap is also still in play, not in the channel, not in the zone, not even close. And then our next one that I've been tracking to the south side, unless something new develops, takes us down to 144.88. And then all of these gaps close to the upside, and guess what? Now we're just reversing to the south side. But we've got to close out this one because this one is the one that haunts us. So really, I know it's painful to see our account tank because I'm in it with you, but it's gonna happen most likely if you just follow the technical analysis. And that could touch on August 6th-ish if we continue to slowly go in this path. But Tesla and TSLY, it whips you around and knocks you over. All right, and that is a look at all of your gap and go trades for the week of July 29th through the 2nd. I am getting hungry and I would like to eat something, but I can't because I've already brushed and flossed. And I don't know about you, but when I do that, I don't want to do it again. So I'm going to see if I can power through this. But have a great trading week. And if there is a ticker that you would like me to go over, please let me know.